Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on a very high quality questions and very interesting questions. Will human digital twin be able to improve educations? We have our world famous speaker, Madam Ali Rice. My first questions to her, what specific educational outcome could human digital twins enhance and how might they achieve this improvement?
Okay. Because on my first reaction would be, is I'm not sure how enhancing it would be to have a digital twin. Because I've got a human twin, and we're so different that I think one of the things that we'll probably do actually is raise your consciousness so that there'll be some separation. So I think it would make you more aware, and it would probably make you question yourself more. But I don't know how well it would develop you, unless, because I've done lots of self-development work, and I think the key is actually to be intuitive. So if it raised your intuition, that would be helpful as well. So I think it's a level of consciousness that you need to raise, really. And I also think that most people in education or in life actually don't necessarily discover their genius. So I'm a true believer that if you find where your strengths and your genius lie, then you'll kind of have a purposeful journey, and you'll find flow, because that's where you're supposed to be. So I think so if the digital twin can help you kind of with that self-discovery. But I'm not sure, it's quite new to me, so I'm not sure how does the digital twin get its information? I'm not really sure. Or is it over time that it develops? So it grows with you. I'm not sure how it works, to be honest.
Mhm. Thank you. My next question for you, how could digital twin be used to tailor educational experiences to individual learning styles and need?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think if the digital twin is, because we're talking about kind of primary age, so it starts in education when you're young and kind of carries on. Because I think that kind of understanding of where you are and where you go and what development arises along the way is really interesting. And not many people are reflective about where that development's come from. So I think it's really interesting. Since 2020, I did lots of self-development and realised how intuitive an artist I am, actually. And I think that kind of understanding of how you individuate, so you become an individual, and you're aware of your skills and where your strengths and your limitations are, actually, is really important. And also, I think education's also about experience. So the greatest education, I would say, is probably when you travel and you meet other people in other countries and realize that cultures are very different to your own. So kind of that understanding of how people live and how things can be so different to the experience. And even in your own country, it's one person's experience of life can be completely, poles apart from another, depending, on circumstances and opportunity. So that kind of ability, I think the digital side of education, I'm part of the Royal Society of Arts, and one of the seminars that I attended to after we were locked down was talking about how the online learning is actually a decade ahead of where it would have been had we not been locked down. But what's happened is that those that have access to technology obviously have more opportunity than those that don't. And I think it's one of the things that they said is, even though it's 10 years ahead of where it would have been, there's also bigger and wider kind of disparity between those that have access and those that have not. So in schools, even in the UK, some schools were ready to pivot straight away when we got locked down, and others weren't. And the school that my son attended, and my daughter's just about to go to sixth form at, where they already had an iPad scheme kind of embedded, so that they made all of the lessons more interactive. So they pivoted, as soon as we were locked down, they pivoted straight away. So they were probably one of the few schools that just didn't drop the ball. But it did really depend that the other thing is it depends on students and them being kind of ready to learn and open to learn. And for me, kind of to be in awe and wonder of the world really helps to be engaged and focused and, you know, want to expand your learning and your understanding.
Excellent. My next question for you, what are the potential ethical and privacy concerns associated with using human digital twin in educational setting, and how can they be addressed?
Yeah, well, it's definitely in England, we're really conscious, so we don't encourage young people to go online before they're kind of over 13, and most schools have incredible strict kind of privacy laws, and so schools generally don't encourage children to be online and unless it's kind of like a closed system. So, you know, when they were doing the online learning, they used similar apps, similar facilities to this. So I think Teams meetings, it was confidential, and it was kind of just for the class of students. And so I don't think other countries necessarily have the same strict policies about being able to access, you know, young people, or for young people to access information, or, you know, so there's a massive level of protection that needs to be given, because it's obviously it's really easy for people to kind of pretend that they're, you know, they're young, or, you know, so they're just vulnerable really. So, you know, it's a good thing. For me, obviously, I've got teenagers now. So my youngest is 16, going on 17 at the end of the year. My eldest is 19. But we were really careful in that we the thing is that we let them go online, but we trusted them to tell us, you know, what they were doing and who they were with. So I think we weren't incredibly strict, but I think the thing is that's health, you know, the safety of young people and the vulnerability still needs to be kind of, and their protection needs to be kind of the priority really. So, but I don't know, you know, I don't technically know all the implications of how a digital twin would work, and, you know, how much information people would access from, you know, so I don't really understand the kind of operations of it.
Thank you. My next question for you, how might the integration of digital twin into the education system impact the role of teachers and educators?
Okay, because from my point of view, if there's a digital twin and you know, in practice, there's kind of high results and high achievement, and it's kind of enhancing a student's experience, then it demonstrates kind of, you know, best practice. So I think the thing is, you need to have some kind of demonstration of how effective it is before people are going to embrace, you know, the idea and kind of roll it out really. So I don't, is it already happening, Sharif?
Mm-hmm. Excellent. My next question for you, what technological advancement are necessary for the effective implementation of human digital twin in education, and what are the current limitations?
Yeah, because I think with digital twins, I think it's interesting because it's demonstrating innovation and creativity. But I don't know how you can replicate something unless, because it's obviously so, you know, when a student puts something down, so they write an assignment, you make a decision based on what they've written. But I think the thing is that there's so much complexity in a student's mind, and I don't know whether everything's kind of captured, or I don't understand how they could capture the complexity of, you know, thoughts and insights and understanding, and some children can't necessarily articulate their understanding as well, and other people can articulate it but find it really difficult to put it down on paper. So I think the thing is, it's probably going to expand the ability to kind of see what students can do without just demonstrating, you know, through an exam or you know, sit down exams and retention of information. So and in the creative field, you know, I think there's a massive interconnection of, you know, that intuition and understanding. So I think, because for me, I really believe that that there's kind of embedded knowledge, and as a child we kind of blossom, you know, like a lotus blossom. So we're, you know, we open up and we kind of understand things because there's almost embedded knowledge in there. Okay. Lie down, lie down, lie down. Sorry. Dog.
Excellent. So, what's your closing remarks for today's session?
That's the thing, because I think it's interesting. Maybe a digital twin would provide company, and, you know, you know, having somebody that's kind of similar to you is quite an interesting. But from my experience, you tend to gravitate to people that are kind of kindred spirits as well. So maybe it'd be quite interesting to see how your digital twin kind of handles life, and as what life throws at you, you know, during whatever happens in the duration of kind of your education life or onwards. So yeah, for me, you know, as a twin, my twin couldn't be more opposite to me, and our skills and reasons to be couldn't be more different. So I think so it'd be interesting to see whether the digital twin tries to diversify and, you know, see kind of the opposite side of things, as opposed to just replicating and emulating things. Because I think it's all about kind of pushing boundaries and going out of your comfort zone to explore kind of uncertainty and new things. And I think the thing is, it really does depend on the foundation of where a child comes from and the opportunities, as to whether they, you know, they go out of the boundaries and kind of explore new things. And the kind of more you explore, the more kind of awareness and ability you have to kind of innovate and do things differently. So I think it's just about kind of realizing that the boundaries are endless, and so is the innovation. So I still love, you know, Deepak Chopra. My favorite quote is, "Uncertainty is the most fertile ground for creativity." And I always add to that innovation, inspiration, and imagination. So I think the thing is that the uncertainty is where the magic happens. And as creators, that's the place that we love most. So it's really interesting, because as creators or creative individuals, we find it hard with routine. We love the kind of uncertainty and that, yeah. So I think it's interesting. It'd be interesting to have a digital twin that's a creator too, and see what they do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your excellent contributions. I request all of our audience, please share our content as much as possible with the government agency, corporation, and academia. Thank you, Madam Ali Rais, for your excellent contribution for World Talent Economic Forum. Thank you. Bye bye and take care.
Take care. Bye, Cherie.
Bye bye.